Hello, everyone. Welcome to EthosWGaming. We are taking a look today at the gear, how the gear works. And I'm going to explain a little bit. Here we are. Let's take a look at it. Let's get a little detail. And it's quite simple. Okay. So here we go. I've been saving a few gear pieces right here to show you exactly what's happening. So in my inventory, I have a ton of gear, right? So my um, Warlock and my Titan, I have a lot of Smoke Jumper and Taxac gear, almost all completing. I have some Bushido gear also. But my Hunter, I have mainly PvP gear, which there are three: the Trials one, the Crucible one, and the Calm one, I believe. That's one right here. Okay, so here's what's going on. Like people are not talking about this enough, or they're not interested on this enough, but it's something that they're overlooking. And then I want to go straight to the thumbnail here and then explain to you how what's going on. So one thing I wanted you to see. This is a specialist gear right here, and we have um, the plus and minus because the tier 5 gears sitting on class, right? And this is the ultimate kind of gear you want to have. Yeah. I'm going to explain to you why this happens. Okay. So right now you see the total value of 97 there. Okay. And then we're going to look at it here. I have 128 in class. Okay. But if I remove the plus and minus, now I have a total value of 100. But then I have 123 in class. So it seems a little bit weird that that interaction happens. And this is what I wanted to tell you about. So I lost 5 points because the gear doesn't register up after 42. Okay. So when I add back the class there, which will give me +5. It goes under 3, but it will add the +5. Okay, so this is what I call the perfect gear. Right, this one right here is specifically the perfect gear. This is what you're looking for every gear you have, because you're trying to increase class in this case, right? So this case specifically, I want class ability. I want class ability. So why would I have the plus and minus anywhere else other than class? Right? I don't want that. So if I wanted my class to be at 200 naturally, right? I would have a specialist gear or cross, and then done, right? And then those gears has a tertiary, I think is how they call it, and a random one, right? So I'm going to show you here another example of a specialist gear, right? So you see here, I have melee. This one I have grenade. Okay. So if you're looking for grenade, then this piece of gear had been specialist, class, plus and minus, and a grenade. This would be better than this, right? I have um, caliber and liar, so I was looking for melee. So this is a good one for me, specifically for this build, which means this right here, I could dismantle, okay? Because it's not the perfect gear. So I'm looking for perfect gear and perfect gear only. All right, let's move on to the second example. All right, let's move on to the next example. The next example is I have a bulwark with health and another bulwark with health. That kind of reiterates what I was just saying. Okay, they're both bulwark with health. However, one is on class. No, one is on weapons. The other one is on melee. Okay, so now I have a melee one and I have a weapon one. Okay, so if I was doing a PvP setup, which is the case of this, I like my weapons to be high. All right, and I like my melee to be high. Right, because I can't do anything about the health one. The health stays there no matter what. But then I have to measure here. Do I want a natural 100 for weapons, or do I want a natural 100 for melee? And then on this case, I personally would pick melee weapons, right? It's what I use the most. I'm shooting all the time, right? Melee, I'm doing it sometimes, okay? So maybe I'll get a 70 on the melee, right? Instead of 100. But my weapons have to be over 130. And here's an example. I see I'm running it that way. Okay, so between these two pieces, it is a perfect piece, but you see how a perfect piece can even be a better piece? So you found the perfect one, but there's a perfect one. So I would delete this. And because my style of gameplay makes me so weapons is what I'm looking for, this right here, without a shadow of a doubt, is a masterwork piece. So I would pick it up, I would masterwork it immediately. right? So there'll be no questions here. I would. It's got the weapons I need. It's exactly where I want it, right? I have a perfect piece right here. Okay. Again, goes back to that thing. It says 97, right? Uh, but it is the 100 there. And then look at that. It's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece of gear, right? I got my full 35 on the health. I got a 30 on the weapons, right? Perfect. Like you pick this piece, you find this piece, masterwork. In my case, I'm looking for weapons. If you're looking for melee, then you would have done this one, which would then put it exactly the same way here, which will make it health 35, melee 30, class 25, right? That's not what I'm looking for personally, so I'm not going to masterwork this one. My personal preference. It could be your personal preference, right? Your personal preference might say, I want both. But as I go through the list here, you'll see that there are combinations that you want to do, right? So you want two pieces of this one and two pieces of this one. Now, this is all PvP gear, right? You want to do two pieces of smoke jumper, two pieces of tech sack, or two pieces of ion adapter, or two pieces of the epic raid uh, gear, right? You want to do two pieces because then you have two perks on each one of them. So over here, I'm doing the PvP pieces, right? Okay, because that's my character PvP. All right, move on. And then we have over here, I have Grenadier and Grenadier. Now, I want to show you this because Grenadier with health and it has weapons, right? Almost there. And then I have a Grenadier, perfect piece with grenade, but because my thing is weapons, I would keep it and not masterwork it, right? So this is how I want it to look like. I want a Grenadier with weapons, but also the plus and minus on grenade. And this one gave me Grenadier with grenade, plus and minus, but then it gave me melee, right? So this is a perfect piece in stats because I always want grenade super weapons all the time. It's what I want. I just want it to be a grenadier on grenade. So I would delete this because it's not perfect. It's not grenade. And I would keep here this one, which is grenade with grenadier, grenadier with grenade. But I wouldn't master work this. That to me would indicate that I'm still looking for the perfect piece. So people may call it um, S tier because it's exactly the stats I want. And they might also call this an S tier, right? I would go one further and say if this one had on grenade, so it was on grenade, this would be a SS tier, right? This would be like a perfect one. And that's not the case. Right? I would even say that this would be an S, this would be A tier, this would be an A tier. But if this one had grenade as a plus and minus, that would make it an S tier. I would say that. Okay. All right. So this piece right here is masterwork from the Warlock. Okay. And it's also a Grenadier. Okay. And if you can't make it perfect, right? Grenadier with grenade, then let that plus and minus be on weapons. Okay. Because then you have a perfect 35, 25, 25. Right. It's what you can do. Right. You can even go further. Say there. There we go. So I have a 40, 25, 25. Right. So if I was looking at those three, and I had to choose one at this moment, I would pick this, right? Because that is not perfectly where I want it to be. And this is lacking the plus and minus or on weapon, say, or on super, or on grenade. I just want the plus and minus to be with the grenadier grenade or the other two that I have already. Okay. And then health to me is good for the PvP, but I don't use it, you see? So it becomes like the they did some calculation stuff like that, and until like 160 health, you were still at a three tap. Like everything's three tap anyway. So it's too much to put it on health to negate everything else like weapons, class, and melee, right? It becomes quite difficult. Okay, so then I have another piece over here that shows a third variation of that grenadier. Okay, again, I have a perfect grenade with grenade, grenadier with grenade. All right, but it's in health. All right, so it's a different piece of gear. I wouldn't master work it because it's not in weapons, but I wouldn't delete it either because it's the perfect piece of gear. Right, and then that should show you all the variations. So I have grenade with weapons, grenade with melee, grenade with health, and notice that all have super. So grenade, super, grenade with super. One has health, one has melee, one has weapons. Okay? So when my plus and minus is in grenade, and I have this set up right here, then I have a perfect gear. At that point, I must work that. Until then, I do not. All right, so let's go. I have another one that is actually the perfect grenade super weapons. Noticed is a different one because this is last discipline and this is disaster, right? So, wow, I found it, right? And then I have this one, which is similar. No, it's the fourth variation of that situation, okay? So here we go. I have grenade super class, Grenade super weapons, grenade super melee, grenade super health. You can see all the variations right here, right? It's always super, and then it goes melee, class, and weapons. And out of these four variations, I want grenade super weapons. That right there, a master. Perfect. Okay. There you go. So that's how you deal with your gear, right? Having that in mind, once you know that stuff, I have too much stuff on my vault, for example. Just knowing that information that I just said to you, automatically you can delete stuff, right? You could just go, okay, so this is not what I want. This is grenade with grenade. Good, delete, right? Like that, okay? This is grenade with grenade, keep, right? Into the vault. And then this is grenade with super. I don't want it. Delete. Right? And then bulwark specialist. Okay. So bulwark. Okay. So this is health with health. Interesting. Put it in the vault for now. You don't know. Maybe you have a master working there. Maybe you don't have a master working there. Right? But once you go in the vault, and then you see that you have one that's master worked, you master worked it because exactly what you want. You want melee with melee, so bulwark with melee, and it has weapons. That's what you want. So if you go in there, you put them both in the vault, for example, here, right? And then you go in your vault, searching. You get over here. Oh, look at that. It's master worked. All right, bulwark, gunner, brawler, paragon. Okay, I have two bulwarks. Oh, why do I have two bulwarks? Oh, because it's health with health. This one's also health with health. This is master work. That's a delete, right? Or in my case, it's a 540. I'm going to go over here. Uh, Bulwark. Just make sure that I don't have any others. Okay. Yep. Bulwark. And then I come over here. Bulwark, Bailey, Masterwork. Perfect. Bulwark, Melee, class. Okay. So here we go. Boom. And then now I have a full vault of 550s, right? Everything's where it needs to be for the next expansion. Now, why am I doing this? Because the next expansion, um, we are not going to have to upgrade our stuff. So it's a whole year, right? Since the moment we got 550 to the whole entire next 6 months, everything's at 550. So what are you going to do with your resources? That you're just getting them and they're just disappearing, not even going to the postmaster anymore. So upgrade the vault, right? That's what I'm doing. Okay, so let me see what I got left over here. Here we go. Let's see. All right. Disaster, disaster. Specialist, specialist. Okay. This is Grenadier. I wanted to keep. Good. This is Grenadier of a different one. Right. I want to keep. Okay. Now we have a situation here. I have a specialist with class, and I have a specialist with grenade. Right. If I saw that coming across, I just delete it because I happen to be using a specialist that is masterwork and that is class. Right. So in my case, this one is low. I'll just go and upgrade it. So that happens a lot when you're doing the same exact uh, playlist all the time. You're getting a lot of the same ones, and that's kind of how I suggest you do it. Like if you're farming one specific thing, like look at its perk. If it says grenadier with grenade, keep it. If it doesn't say grenadier with grenade, delete it. Because eventually we'll get a grenadier with grenade. I mean, if you're farming, right? So, and you can go in the playlist, right? You turn it on. Friends are not online yet. You just go here. I would start, let's see, 3, right there. No, it's 2, 2. All right, so I've done a few. So I'll pick anything that's 2 or 3, but match made, right? Or or just go like this, find, create, create, and then eventually somebody will show up. Okay, you go about your business, sorting your inventory, and then eventually somebody shows up, and you go to that thing. Look, they all come up. You see, I'm not gonna do it because then, uh, you know, it's not nice. So yeah, another 550, just like you. Right, call them in, get it done, quick stuff. Right, that was easy, right? I just got people. All right, so here we go. And now I have everything 550. Look at that, beautiful. All right, moving on. Now that you know that, look how much easier it is. Look how many I have. Right, and this was just like I kept playing PvP. I was doing comp, and they just kept dropping. Okay, and then so this is how easy it is to do the rest of it. All right, so here we go. I have last discipline, and I got last discipline until here, and then I have disaster. Okay, so let's do the disaster first, get that out of the way. All right, so I have a grenadier with melee, right? So I had to double check. Um, I could do one of the two things. I could put that in the vault because it does have the perks I want, exactly what I want it, or I could just delete it and keep going, right? If I wanted just the perfect gear. Look at that. Grenadier with grenade. So this would be automatically easy peasy. This goes in the vault. This is actually gear you would want to upgrade. I'm gonna run out of stuff. So to mark them, I would do 1. Okay. To mark that you have made your decision. That's the one you want. Right. If you're running out of materials, just to mark them, I would do 1. Right. So if I see something like that in the vault, I know, it's a good one. And I would just vault that. Okay. And then this one, I would look in my vault. Do I have anything in my vault that needs to be upgraded? And what do you know? I do. Right. So not sure if it's perfect, but I'll bring it to 550. Yeah. And then just leave it in the vault to check it later. I probably checked it already, so I'm quite confident. Right? So this one is Paragon with Super. It's not Masterworked because not weapons. Okay? So let's go. And then here we go. Specialist. And this one, Specialist with class and weapons. Perfect. I would just one and leave it there. Right? And then, oh, look at that. They're both Specialist with class. Oh, these are identical. Identical. There we go. Grenade. See? I didn't even look at the other one to know it is what I wanted. Right? So Specialist with class and then grenade. Specialist with class and then a grenade. Perfect. Okay, I want that. And then this one, well, it's going to be deleted because it's exactly the same as the last one, right? And now I'm looking at my inventory on an app, and then it's telling me that every single um, arm piece is already at 550. So delete. Next, Grenadier grenade, but not weapons, which is my style of gaming. And in this one also, Grenadier grenade, not weapons. All right, so now I have a choice here. What do I want the most? Class or melee? And I would say melee. Okay? Hunter is stronger with melee. Oh, wait, hold on. My bad. My bad. Grenadier with grenade, Grenadier with super, right? It's not perfect. I would have chosen melee if I can't have weapons, but it's not Grenadier with grenade, you see? So keep that, Grenadier with grenade, and then delete Grenadier with super. All right, Bulwark. Oh, Bulwark with health, Bulwark with weapons, right? No question here. Keep the Bulwark with health, and then delete the Bulwark with weapons. Next. All right, so it gets faster, right? Okay, so I looked at something here. That happens to be a last discipline, and it's also a last discipline. So the first thing I did was I have a last discipline uh, specialist class. So I looked at all the other ones to see if it is, and they're not. Brawler, Brawler, Paragon, Paragon, Gunner, Grenadier, Grenadier. Okay. And then, so easy to do. Brawler, melee with melee. Okay, perfect. Another melee with melee. Okay, melee with melee, melee with melee. And then I have super on this one, grenade on that one. PvP. Okay. I want more grenade than super on my PvP setup. Okay. So based on the I want more grenade than super, I would choose that. Say super is really low here. So is grenade. Right, it's a little tough. You kind of have to see what's your game style, you know? How do you want to do your gaming, right? I'm gonna keep this one. I want my super to be like at 100. Since I barely use grenade. And there's a gauntlet, there's grenade, Ankara, and then there is chest plate that does grenades, exotics. Ooh, it's a tough one. But because it's a brawler piece, I shouldn't worry about too much. Sometimes you get on that kind of predicament, and then you pause there, right? You come back to it. Because this is locked and this isn't locked. I made a decision at some point by looking at my builds that this would be better. So I'm gonna keep this, delete this, right? So I'm gonna go over here, look for brawler, brawler, grenade. Okay. And then this is the one I chose to keep. It's not weapons. I'm not gonna mess the work. Okay. Next. Paragon, Paragon. Okay, here we go. Paragon with grenade, Paragon with weapons. That was bad no matter what. So at least one thing makes it simple. It is melee super weapons on both of them, right? I'm gonna take the one that's weapons. This one is in a different, complete different item. I don't need that, right? So then I'll take this one, right? So the plus and minus is always more to where your item is and less to something else other than grenade, right? So in this case, my plus and minus is on grenade. It would be always plus and minus, would be always plus to a grenade and minus to any other stats, right? So one of the really bad ones is when the plus and minus is on a health, and then it should be plus to health and minus on something else. And usually that doesn't play out good for your character. So if you have a plus and minus on the health, I wouldn't recommend that at all. Okay, so here we go. I chose to keep this, right? And then that is not a 550. So here we go. Paragon, Paragon, um, and use. And then keep that. All right, let's go. Gunner. Gunner with grenade. Gunner with grenade. Okay, so this is all bad. All right, so gunner with grenade instead of weapons. Gunner and grenade instead of weapons. Then I have melee for this one or super for that one, right? I had chosen super for the older one. I'm assuming that is what I want here too. All right. And then grenade with glass, grenade with super. But this one has weapons, so I'll keep this and get rid of that. All right. So these two are this go in the trash right away. And this, let me just double check, make sure that everything I have is masterwork. I mean, 550. So I'm going in my inventory real quick, taking a look at it. Is it all my chest plates 550? No, they're not. They're not all 550. So let me bring something that's in my vault to 550. Okay. If it's in my vault, I've sorted, right? So I'm not too worried about that. Specialist. That's a perfect. That's perfect, right? So super class weapons. Perfect. Okay. So without a doubt, I would masterwork this. I don't think I have any materials though. Yep. Okay. Without a doubt, I would masterwork this. So I just pinpointed it, right? Just to make sure I know this is a good piece. I'm gonna put it in the vault real quick, just to prove it that is not a mistake, right? So specialist, Paragon, Paragon, Gunner, Brawler, Bulwark. I noticed there's two Paragons here. Paragon, Paragon. All right, Specialist, Gunner, Brawler, Bulwark. See, they're not perfect, right? Bulwark's incorrect. Brawler is incorrect. So I could just delete them and wait for the perfect one, like this one, you know? Like this one's perfect. Look, I ran out of material. Okay, cool. So Paragon with super, Paragon without super. So Paragon super is what I want. It's not on weapons. So keep it for now. Don't masterwork it. All right, let's go. All right, so this one, last discipline, disasters. Okay, so all of these are disaster. All right, so Paragon, Paragon, Brawler. Okay, so Paragon with super, Paragon with health. Keep, delete. Go in the vault. There is one piece. One last piece that is not a 550. So Paragon with health. Go over here. Look for that Paragon. Paragon with health. And then infuse it. Place it back in the vault. So now everything I have in my vault that is a boot, it's a 550. Okay. Brawler, 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 Gunner, Bulwark, Bulwark. Okay. So Brawler with health, Brawler with melee, Brawler with grenade. So delete Brawler with grenade. Delete Brawler with health. Keep Brawler with Brawler. And because it's not weapons, I put it in the vault. Don't masterwork it. Until I need it for my build. When I need it for my build, I'll masterwork it. Okay. So here we go. Gunner with Gunner. Gunner. Like two Gunners. Gunner with health. Gunner with Gunner. Perfect. Vault. and I noticed that there's a 540 here. I might need it. I'm not sure. Keep it for a second. All right, I have Bulwark with super, Bulwark with class. Okay, so this one's got a weapons. Keep this, and this one's got class. No good. Okay, masterwork this to 550, and then delete the other one. So this goes to the vault. And this I can delete because there's nothing else left in the vault that is not 550. Okay. So disaster. I have grenadiers, 2 grenadier, grenadier with weapons, grenadier with super. All right, so this one does not have weapon. This one does. So keep this, delete that. But it's not 550. So infuse, vault. Specialist, specialist, paragon, paragon. All right, so specialist with grenade, specialist with class. Perfect. Vault that. Okay. Paragon with weapons, paragon with class. So keep paragon with weapons. Keep paragon with weapons, delete paragon with class. As they are exactly the same. And then we have these 2 pieces. Oh, they're 40s. Okay, I can delete them. 540, 540. So there you go. That's your whole entire um, gear sorted. Now, another thing that I've been doing so I can have every loadout there is, yep, you can tell that I keep a lot of stuff, is this, right? There are 6 pieces. Paragon, Specialist, Brawler, Bulwark, Grenadier, and Gunner. Okay? Those are the 6 pieces. Okay? And what you want to do is you want to do Paragon with Super, uh, Paragon with Super plus or minus, Specialist with Class plus or minus, like this one, uh, Brawler with Melee plus or minus, Bulwark with Health plus or minus, Grenadier with Grenade plus or minus, and then Gunner with Weapons plus or minus. That's what you want to do. Ultimately, that is the ultimate gear that you can possibly have. Now, my builds are usually something with whatever it is. So in Paragon, it'll be super, and then weapons, and then whatever else, right? So on a specialist would be class and weapons, and then whatever else. And I tried to get away from health. As you can see, melee has health. The moment it shows up, anything other than health in that melee, I will replace this, right? So the first replacement will be the moment it shows up melee with plus and minus on melee, it gets replaced. If another one shows up, it is melee with plus or minus on melee and also not health, then I'll replace that, right? And that's when I would masterwork it. I would masterwork it because 25 points on health is just going to go to waste. Okay, so now Bulwark, on the other hand, this is perfect, right? I just need the plus or minus on the health because it is its perk. Its perk is health, right? Um, which I would say it's almost useless, right? On this one, you might want a different one. You might want it on grenade or weapons, like because you already have too much on health. But if you're doing something that requires that, well, there it is, and it's so forth and so on, right? So, oh, my friend just joined. Um, so let me show you on the uh warlock because my warlock is I've been farming quite a bit on the warlock here. Oh, I didn't have to change characters. I just need space. All right, cool. And then this is what I've done with the warlock, right? This is what I'm trying to do to all characters, right? So tax sack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see that? Is all there. And then let's see. Gunner with super, no good. Grenadier with grenade. Here we go. But it's not perfect because it's on health. I wanted on weapons. I probably needed it. I must have worked it. Uh, specialist, and then it's on health. You see that? Another mistake, right? Probably needed it. Must have worked it. And then bulwark with class, right? It's not on weapons. I didn't must have work it. Right? So it's okay. When another piece with the other criteria comes in, I have a specialist with class, then um, I'll be able to I'll be able to then take care of that and then delete this and get another one. Fine. All right, but you want 6, right? So, and then I don't have 6 on Bushido. Still working on it. But tax sack go well with smoke jumper. And last week we were having a lot of tax sack and smoke jumpers, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. Okay. All right. So specialist with grenade, not good. Gunner with super, not good. Paragon with super. Oh, there we go. See, that's must have worked. Right. So Paragon with super, and it's masterwork. And then I have grenade with grenade, but it's not masterwork because it's not weapons. And then brawler, it's not where it's supposed to be. And I have a bulwark. Look at this. I masterworked it. It's a bulwark, it's health, and it's health with health, and it's got the weapons I need, right? Masterworked it. And then so forth and so on. So I have many examples here. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? All of them. Again. So specialist, bulwark, brawler, grenadier, gunner, paragon. Okay. Same thing here. Bulwark, gunner, grenadier, paragon, specialist, and brawler. You see that? Now, specialist, look, it's on weapons, it's class with class, it's master work. Paragon with super is master work, but it's not weapons, right? So when you making your build, right, you're gonna interlock them, right? You have 2 pieces of each gear to complete your build, right? So if you lack on this one, I might have a smoke jumper that it is super with super and weapons. So I'll put the smoke jump on that versus the tech sack on that. And I'll still have my 2 pieces, right? Is it too much? Absolutely, it's too much. But I just keep throwing it at you. What I want you to know is this: you don't have to toss the items. You can keep them, but keep them with the criteria that justifies why you're keeping it, right? If we, if I picked up this piece of gear and instead of weapons, this was on health, and I don't have any other, it's a perfect gear. I would say it's A tier. What would it make? What would make this gear a S tier like this one right here? This is an S tier. Is that even though it's grenade with grenade, I am on weapons instead of health or melee or class. I have my other piece on weapons. That's an S tier piece. It would drop to an A tier piece if it was anywhere else other than weapons, right? And that's to me. To you, an S tier piece may be something that has the melee, right? You happy with that? That's fine. You happy with that? Okay. And then I have Grenadier, Gunner, Bulwark, Specialist, and Paragon. Missing one. All right. Almost there. Almost perfect. And so forth and so on, right? Okay. Cool. So now, because I have so many pieces in this character, I'm going to try to kind of demonstrate how that works, right? All right. And I'm going to use just here if I was doing a prismatic build. Okay. I don't know. I don't even know what my prismatic plus and minus are, but it doesn't matter. What we want to do is demonstrate that with that kind of a build as a conclusion, right, you'll be able to see um, how those loadouts work, like live, right? So I go to D2 armor picker, right? I pick my warlock. I choose my warlock. And then let me see if I can put this on screen here. Okay. So D2 armor picker. I'm on my warlock. All right. I'll just clear that up. It's updating the vendor. That's fine. Okay. And I'm going with this one, which is what I'm using now. What is this anyway? This one is, what do you know? Weapons, grenade. Beautiful. So it's filament and stuff fire, the one I'm using right now. So I choose filament and it's stuff fire. Okay. Now I have a few of those in the vault. As you can see, I have a few. They're all equal to, and probably filament stuff fire. The only filament stuff fire is the one that I have in my character right now. Right. Let me look. Filament claw, swarm, star eater, synthosaps, verity, and then it changes. I kind of have them all in sequence anyway, so it's probably what it is. But then I'm gonna go. You see how I do the armor pieces here? I'm gonna take those off, okay? And then I'm gonna say import from my subclass. Make it simple. Right? I don't have to think. It's however my subclass is. Just imports it from there. Okay. I removed these details. And then I'm gonna show you one piece. So say I want a melee build, right? say I want any build. This is what I can get to, right? I can get my weapons to 190, but it's not really true because I still have the plus and minus. This is not accounting for the plus and minus, right? So if I did that, right, weapons 190, okay, I can still get my grenade at 100. Beautiful. Okay. And then my class, look at this. My class all the way up there, 95. Okay. And look at that. It was simple, right? With this build, I can get 195 and 190. Now, well, I don't like this. Let me see what I can do here. Let me do 180. Oh, all of a sudden, that does drop, go to 100. Okay. There we go. So this is going to stay at 100, 105, 103, and 180. That's good. Okay. That's good. And then I'll go one further. I can look in here if I want, right? It's kind of telling me, look, it's a smoke jumper, tack sack, tack, and a smoke jumper. No good, right? But if I look at each one of these, that's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of work. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say, all right, so smoke jumper, 2 pieces. Do I still have a loadout? Yeah, I do. Check it out. And then smoke jumper goes with tack sack. So look for tack sack, 2 pieces. Do I still have it? Perfect. Look at that. And then I click in here, and then I tell it to equip in my character. And look what's gonna happen. Click. And there it is. Okay. So over here, I will place all the plus and minus without even thinking. And I always take it from health. Okay. Place all the plus and minus. Notice that they were already there because I keep clicking them. I placed all the plus and minus. Okay. It gave me a beautiful, look at that. And then I'm doing weapons, right? So weapons, 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 and weapons. Look at that. So just like that, I made a build. I didn't have to think about it too much. Comes with everything I need. I go ahead and upgrade these safely because I've already sorted my inventory. Yeah. This one's gunner with class, and it's probably why I upgraded it because you see, this comes across. I need it for a build at that moment. It's not the perfect one that I need. It's a variation of. So I'll just master work it and go with my build, you know? But this one is not bad, right? It's almost perfect, right? Plus and minus on grenade, gunner, grenade, okay, right? I would just master work and be done with it and go with my build, right? But then, obviously, until I need it, I don't master work it. Unless I had a ton of materials that I didn't know what to do with it. But um, I wouldn't masterwork this until I absolutely need it. I'm about to do something. I really need it. It's the build that somebody gave me, and I they enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy it. I must work it. So it's good to have the extra materials. Cool. With that being said, materials become um, an issue, right? So glimmer goes through the roof very easily, right? And then this you can only keep 30 of them, and that goes away very fast. And then I don't have any more of the other one. So what I do here, this is how I keep my ghost, right? XP to a minimum because I don't need it. Again, next season, you're going to need XP to get your artifact open. So I'll shift this a little bit. So I'll take Glimmer off, right? And add XP. But for now, is XP to a minimum. That doesn't matter. Um, when I see it, I go get it. But, you know, and then you need Glimmer at a maximum and you need Core Harvester. A lot of cores to do what I'm doing. Okay. So that's how I keep my ghost. When you're running bad with Glimmer, I come over here and I buy these. I often have them. Okay, I don't even worry about it. I buy them because it's faster. See, I usually keep a couple. I used one today, so I had to delete it. I had to get another one. So that's how you do your builds. Okay. To get the fastest ways to get enhancement prisms as of right now is in the solo ops, which have a solo ops. It is the day. Like, look, Caldera here will give me um, 3 engrams, right? So I'll chase those, right? I go here, get those engrams, right? Look, all of them. I'll get all the engrams. And as I'm doing them, you get 2. So just right here, 12. You get 12 um, enhancement prisms and 14 pieces of gear. And it'll be the smoke jumper or the tech sack. That's where you get them both. Right? That's how come I have so much. And then pinnacles, you want to do priestess. Oh, she's not here. Well, priestess is not here today. I don't know which other one is as fast as. So if you're doing it with your mates and you want to, be talking and yeah, so it's a little bit longer than the solo ops, but you're doing it with your teammates, you know. And over here, you're getting the Bushido piece and last discipline, I think. Not sure. Definitely the Bushido piece. Okay. I was looking for the priestess, but she's not here today. Oh no, I'm on Pinnacles Ops. My bad. I want to be on Fireteam Ops. By the way, never did this. It's a waste of time. Too long. Beautiful strike, but too long. There, Dark Priestess. Fireteam Ops, Dark Priestess, and all the solo ops. they're fine. See, 10, 15 minutes. It really is. It's rest. It's fast. You're not gonna have trouble doing this, and that's how you get them. But either way, you max it out at 100, and your golf balls max out at 30. So once you have 28 of those, go ahead and masterwork your stuff, and then and then come back, farm some more, masterwork your stuff, and just keep going that way. Cool. That's what I have for you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I hope this helps. Um, it's just a little. Today is Thanksgiving in America, so happy Thanksgiving for everybody. And this is my little Thanksgiving gift to all. To the next one.